How's it going, wrestling fans? Thanks for tuning into this episode of the Wrestle Report, episode 33 with Phil and Don. I am Phil.
I'm Don.
Got a lot to get to today. First and foremost, we did kind of miss all of the, backlash from All In. I didn't even get to watch All In live. Took me a while to catch up to that. So we didn't review that in your traditional sense. But I do want to start there because normally when AEW or any wrestling promotion has a big show like that, they kind of ease back into their, regular, it's like the peak of something. And then you kind of just calm down again. AEW ain't slowing down because tomorrow we have the Arthur Ashe show, which should be the biggest AEW crowd in the company's near 3-year history here. It's going to be right around 20,000, which is double your average, even an all-in crowd was. You got to remember the first all-out show was basically Dave Meltzer saying there's no way an independent promotion could seat a 10,000 seat arena. And Cody and the guys basically just said bet, and now here we are. So they're basically trying to double that with Arthur Ashe. But before we get to that, we will talk some All Out here. To me, there was two major things. We got new tag team champions in the Lucha Bros and what a lot of people are calling the best cage match in a long time. We will touch on that. But I think obviously we all want to talk about CM Punk's first match in 7 years against Darby Allin. So we're going to start there. Don, I think you actually got to watch this show before I did. I came home immediately to watch that match, but the rest of the show I had to catch up on. So first time seeing CM Punk in a ring for 7 years that isn't an octagon. What'd you think?
Oh, he looked great. I felt like it was a great match. He picked the right person to go against. Definitely. He made Darby Allin look like a star. Darby Allin is a star, and I thought it was a great match.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of people in that crowd that never actually seen CM Punk wrestle outside of like YouTube clips. So yeah. I think a couple people were saying how like the match was maybe slower than they expected, but like it's just slower than the modern style now. It wasn't slow. It's just in comparison to, you've seen, the cage match and everything. But you're right. I think it was the perfect first opponent. There's been talks out there, and if you've seen the match, it kind of lines up. They took a lot of inspiration from, I guess, 1-2-3 Kid versus Bret Hart. It was a match on Raw, like early Monday Night Raw, and they took a lot of spots from that, and they kind of tried to tell the same story. So I think they did great. To me, I can break this match down into like three major spots. You got the first go to sleep that was hit, and Darby Allin like falls out of the ring. I thought that was a great spot because it's like maybe he could have caught him there, but he fell out of the ring, so we'll never know. And then when Darby Allin goes for the coffin drop and CM Punk just sits up and kind of laughs like, why has nobody thought to do this, basically? And then of course the ending sequence, he goes for his last rites and he hits him with the GTS and wins. But you can kind of break it down into those three like beginning, middle, and end spots. And we are lucky enough that we will see CM Punk's second match ever Friday night on Rampage. It'll still be at Arthur Ashe. It's basically they're doing two shows there, which they should. If they have the crowd, like might as well get as much content out of that huge venue as they can. This one will be against Powerhouse Hobbs. And obviously, if you look at Darby Allin versus Punk, they're generally the same size. Punk might be a tad, I don't know if he's bigger, but he's taller. I think he's all around like more mass. Clearly not the case with someone like Powerhouse Hobbs. So I'm interested to see how this match takes place. Again, we're jumping past the Wednesday show into the Friday show for this, but facing a guy like Powerhouse Hobbs, the story's got to be completely different. Obviously, he's going to sell a lot more. He's going to make Hobbs look like $1 million. The size difference is, impeccable. So I'm intrigued as much as I am excited about a match with guys like this that are two completely different sizes.
Oh yeah, man, I'm excited to see it, and I think Powerhouse Hobbs is going to look like a star. He's an upcoming star for sure.
Yeah,
already there in AEW. So I'm happy to see the match, and I'll be tuned in. I believe that show's supposed to be like 2 hours this time on Friday.
Yeah, so I think this is the first Rampage that's 2 hours, and some people have mentioned like we don't want that to be the regular, especially starting at 10 o'clock, like 10 to midnight consistently. 10 o'clock is already a shitty time slot. I think we've talked about it before. Yeah, but if it's only an hour and you give me like must watch TV, like I'm cool with it. Like I would watch SmackDown more, but sometimes I'm like, I get home and we're doing stuff, we're making dinner, and then next thing I know, it's 9 o'clock already. And I'm like, oh, I already missed the first half. I'll try and catch some of it. So 10 o'clock is just late enough that if you had stuff to do on Friday, you might already be home. So I see the logic behind it, but in this 2 hour block is going to be fine. But consistently, if you do 1 hour and you put 1 or 2 matches on it every week that everybody wants to see, I think it's fine. But yeah, with this week we have the 2-hour Dynamite and the 2-hour Rampage. So that's going to be, and again, the whole thing is at Arthur Ashe, so that's going to be pretty sweet.
Yeah, definitely.
But Punk had mentioned, he mentioned Darby Allin about guys who want to get in the ring, and he's mentioned Ricky Starks and Hobbs by name. I'm almost surprised they didn't go Ricky first, because again, it's another guy closer to his size, can probably work his style a little better. I think he'll eventually get to Ricky Starks. Do you think there's any chance that Punk loses, like puts over Powerhouse? They could cheat. Maybe Ricky costs him the match or something, but like, could you see Punk potentially losing this? I think with Darby, there was no question that Punk was going to beat Darby. But I mean, if you had to give it a percentage, I'm going to give it like a 35% chance, maybe, which is higher than most, I think.
That Punk loses?
Yeah, I'll give it like 35% chance that he would. Whereas before it was like 5 against Darby.
Yeah, I was looking at more of the 45.
Okay.
Just because Punk does want to put over people.
Yeah, he doesn't want to.
He could still put over people in a win too. Still, make him look like $1 million. But I could still see, just because the numbers game,
right,
that Hobbs could win.
Yeah,
and I wouldn't be against it.
Yeah, I do think, like, if he beats Hobbs, it's no big deal. But I do think if you're AEW, you want to find a logical way to get his first loss out of the way, because you don't want that to become a storyline as Punk's coming in and beating all these young guys. I don't think that's what Punk wants either. So I don't think it's going to be much of a. I think if they would have told him, like, hey, we kind of want to put over Darby in this match, I think he honestly would have been cool with it. It's the crowd that wouldn't have been cool with it. I think would have had a riot in Chicago. So that's the reason they didn't do it that way. But Hobbs, I think there's a chance. And if not Hobbs, I think Ricky Starks, absolutely. Like, what if he squeaks by Ricky Hobbs, Powerhouse Hobbs, and maybe he like jumps him after, and then the next match is Ricky Starks and he's not 100% or something. I could see it going that way too.
Yeah.
So the other big all-in thing I wanted to talk about, though, was all out, was the new tag team champions. The Lucha Bros won the cage match against the Young Bucks. I think it was the perfect time for the Bucks to drop the titles. The heels have had the belts for so long, and now with baby faces as champions, it's going to give these heel teams, and AEW does have a lot of them, a chance at the titles. And on Dynamite, they had Butcher and the Blade to have a match against the Lucha Bros for the titles, and that was a pretty sweet ending too, and everything that worked out. So people are calling it the best cage match in a long time. WWE uses cage matches so seldomly, and this is only the second AEW cage match ever. The first one was Cody and Wardlow. So I think it's pretty easy to call it the best cage match in a while, but I don't even know what you would put in contention with it.
Yeah, and on top of that, you don't really see a lot of tag team cage matches.
That's true.
It's usually just one-on-one. Have you ever seen a triple threat cage match? Because I haven't.
Just on the video game. Yeah, I don't think we've ever. I don't think. Yeah, that's tough. I don't think there's ever been. There has been tag cage matches. The first one that comes to mind, I'm going far enough back here. When the New Age Outlaws came back, 5-6 years ago, they actually faced Cody and Goldust in one. Because I remember Cody does the moonsault off top of the cage and he falls right between Billy Gunn and Road Dogg. And it's a meme everywhere, like, oh, you didn't know, you better catch somebody. But even that's got to be 6-7 years ago, 8 years ago now. Yeah. So yeah, it has been a while. But no, triple threat cage matches. If anybody out there, and I don't mean like on an indie show, I mean like on something substantial, and you can think of a triple threat or a fatal 4-way cage match, let me know, because now I'm curious myself. I mean, I've seen, I don't know if this counts, but like TNA will do what did they call it?
Nah, bro. I know exactly what you're talking about with the Octagon.
So not even that, but so it was called X Division Escape, and it was like a 6-man, and it was first guy to get out. But yeah, that's a little different. That's almost an elimination chamber style thing. So not that. So yeah, your standard cage match with 3 or more guys. That's a good question. But I'm excited to see them as champs. I think they can have a good match with just about anybody. And this frees the Bucks up to do more super elite stuff. Which, speaking of that, the other big news on All Out, of course, was the debut of Adam Cole, and immediately after Daniel Bryan. And we're both, I'm sure, very happy that they're there. How did you feel about debuting them like back to back like that? Like, once you got past the wave of being excited they're there, it felt a little rushed. They were both there at the same time.
Yeah, I mean, I understand why they did it, because I know like they was really concerned about about COVID and it probably wiping out the Arthur Ashe, because he was supposed to Brian Danielson, there you go. He was supposed to actually debut tomorrow,
right,
at Arthur Ashe, but I guess they hard shooted just because of that, of COVID, and it was supposed to be just Adam Cole for All Out,
right, and luckily that didn't end up being an issue. We are as of right now, as of 24 hours beforehand, Arthur Ashe is a go. So luckily they did that all for naught, but I understand them wanting to have him debut just in case,
just
something was going to affect that for sure.
Yeah. But I mean, at first I was like, I was happy, of course, because that's just a pop, right? A great pop.
Yeah.
But I could have lasted, like, give me a week in between, because I feel like one took away from the other, and he also had Ruby Soho that debuted earlier.
Very true.
So I mean, I felt like there was a lot of debuts,
which is not necessarily a bad thing, but like you said, they could potentially kind of be like stepping on each other. And that's definitely
not say if they was a split up, if they like how they had Ruby Soho do the casino, they could have had Brian Danielson come out. Brian Danielson. It's gonna
take a while.
Debut earlier and have Adam Cole come out during that segment, the final segment. But then you also think Brian Danielson was probably a bigger unexpectancy than Adam Cole.
That makes me think, actually, that was where I was going to go next. Who are you happier to see, and which one do you think overall is actually the bigger deal? And is that the same answer for both?
The bigger deal, I would say, is Brian Danielson, just because you'll see some crazy. But I'm excited to see what Adam Cole does with the Super Elite.
Yeah,
because unfortunately I wasn't. I didn't really watch Being the Elite back in the day, and Adam Cole's New Japan stuff, or ROH stuff. So like I didn't really get to know the history between the whole Elite. So I'm excited to learn. Like I just found out that supposedly Adam Cole was dead.
Yeah, they killed him off. I honestly forget how, but yeah, that's the story.
Oh well, I actually watched the first Being the Elite. After that, it was they poisoned his monster.
Oh, okay, that explains. Like, because I watched the more recent, the one where they brought him back, basically.
Yeah,
and they have a bunch of energy drinks laid out for him, and he goes to pick up a monster, and he goes, I think I'm gonna have a bang instead, and he grabs that instead. And like they're telling him, he's like, oh, I'm gonna go find Hangman and we're gonna get a beer. And there's like, you're not gonna find him. It's like, oh, you're telling me Cody's not around and we don't do the Too Sweet anymore, and all this, they're trying to fill him in like random ways, which was pretty funny for sure.
Yeah, it was definitely a funny episode of Being the Elite.
I do think Daniel Bryan might be the bigger deal, but personally, I'm more excited for Adam Cole, because we've seen Daniel Bryan as like the main event guy in WWE. Yeah. We saw his WrestleMania moment. We haven't seen the peak of what Adam Cole can be. Daniel Bryan can still do plenty of other stuff. I'm still calling him Daniel Bryan, whatever. You guys know what I'm talking about. but Danielson is, we've seen him on that level, and Adam Cole, we've seen him on almost that level in NXT, obviously. But I'm overall more excited. If I could only have one, I would have picked Adam Cole. I'm glad they're both there. But yeah, what happens with Adam Cole when he had his first match against Frankie Kazarian on Dynamite? Everything looks great there. He cut a promo afterwards, and I'm just excited to see him there. Eventually, I think there will be dissension. I don't think he'll stay with the Elite forever. I think that was a logical way to bring him in. But like at some point, somebody's gonna tell them, that he killed him or whatever it is. I don't know if they're gonna bring that full storyline to Dynamite, but they're gonna, because Kenny's already talking about on Being the Elite, like, you better not come for my spot and everything. So he might eventually feel threatened by Cole, even if Cole's not initially gonna stab him in the back, but he's so paranoid that he like instigates it. I could definitely see that coming.
Yeah, I could see that too.
Yeah.
But I would say I'm more happier for Ruby Soho because I think she's gonna do great in AEW. I'm excited for her.
Same, because like Bryan Danielson has already done everything you could want in a career. This is all icing on the cake. If Adam Cole retired after WWE, like he would have been relatively, what's the word? You'd be complacent at least with his career. Ruby Soho, this is her time. She's never given the opportunity to be, the top dog in her division, and eventually, it's Britt Baker's time now. But clearly, she's going to be next. I think she's definitely jumped some people in line. Some people like Thunder Rosa maybe aren't happy about that, but I mean, you can tell that's where this is going.
Because I know that their match is tomorrow.
Yeah.
Britt Baker versus Ruby Soho. Do you see Ruby beating her?
If she does, I don't think she'll hold it a long time. I think Britt gets it back sometimes, but it would be a good moment for the show. Because I think Ruby is from Jersey or somewhere in the New York area. I'm gonna fact check myself now, but I know that's part of the thing that might be the case. But if she does, I won't be super shocked. I just think it's still Britt Baker's division, I guess, is what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
What about you? What's your chance? Do you think?
I mean, I could see it happening, and I could see, like you said, they have a match here, and then at Full Gear, Britt Baker takes it back.
Yeah, something like that.
I could see something like that happening.
So she's from Michigan, so that wasn't quite the case. I must be thinking of somebody else. Yeah, must be thinking of somebody else. But yeah, I could see, big win here, rematch of Full Gear, get it back to Britt. Like I could totally see that being the case because AEW doesn't flip flop titles. I don't think they've never really. The shortest reign is like FTR's 2-3 month title reign with the tag belts. Like that's the shortest title. I guess Brody Lee had a quick one with the TNT, but they don't do a lot of like back and forth. So like to do it once in a while would almost be powerful. I think.
Yeah,
so
because then Britt Baker won at Double or Nothing in May.
Yeah.
So she's had it for 4 months now.
Mm-hmm. Which is a solid number. She's had a lot of good matches. And again, if she does lose it, I see her. She's going to be the first 2-time women's champion, and that'll be her thing, But yeah, I'm very much looking forward to Arthur Ashe tomorrow, and then Friday. Obviously, we'll pick it right back up for another 2 hours. Punk's matches on Friday. I think I forget all these matches. I
think the Elite versus Christian and Jungle Boy and Luchasaurus. Is on Friday as well.
And then we have FTR versus Sting and Darby. I think that's on the Wednesday show. But yeah, just great matches all around. We have Kenny and Daniel Bryan in what I believe is non-title.
No, it's title.
Are you sure?
Title is on the line.
All right. Well, here's my thing, and I'm not the first person to say this, but I see this almost going to a time limit draw. This being like the biggest teaser that they have, and then eventually, Full Gear some other time down the line, going for it again. But I currently I see it going. I don't see Bryan Danielson winning the title that much. I know, but I don't know. What do you think?
I can see going time limit draw that. I mean, that would be the smartest way if you want to keep people interested in the match, and you have the match, the payoff at Full Gear. But I still want Hangman to win to beat Kenny.
Right.
I think the story is there. It's more there.
Maybe he cheats to beat Danielson and Hangman returns at Arthur Ashe. I could see that being the case too.
Yeah, I could see that.
They built that story for so long that I would love to see that be, when that finally happens. But that pretty much brings us up to speed in AEW, and we have 2 great shows coming up for AEW, and it really will set the landmark for the rest of the year, I think, when this show breaks out, because this will be the pinnacle. Normally, All Out's like their WrestleMania. In a way, they almost moved you right past All Out into this show, and they almost could have saved this venue for All Out. And again, they were probably worried about COVID and stuff, and they wanted to get that show in Chicago too for Punk. So that makes sense. So this really is, this is crowd wise the biggest show they've ever had. I'm curious if it holds up on the card, and they got a lot of great matches, so very well.
Yeah.
So
do you think they're gonna get a lot of do you think they're gonna get a lot of time in these matches? Because there's a lot of matches tomorrow alone.
Well, I could see the Kenny and Danielson getting like 30 minutes, like a 30-minute time limit type deal, and a lot of other stuff get 20. That's the time limit on it, and then it's got to end, sooner than that. And if you break it down like that, I think it gives you enough time for all this stuff.
Okay.
If you get, if everything's on average 15 minutes or so, and then you get 30 for the main event, I think you'll be all right. So that pretty much brings us up to speed in AEW. They're kind of rocking and rolling. And while that's happening over on what used to be, the other side of the Wednesday Night War, we got a brain that's completely reinventing itself. We had the first episode last week. The second one's actually about to air tonight as we record. But NXT 2.0 took off last week, and I have plenty of good to say about it, and I have plenty of like head scratching stuff. And I said, one of the last episodes we had, I used to watch, it gave me FCW vibes for sure, Florida Championship Wrestling, which was before NXT. I used to watch that show on Bright House Network channel, local sports here in Florida. Terrible channel, terrible broadcasting. They used to have UCF games on there. The worst channel I think I've ever watched anything live on. But I used to watch their TV, and it gave me a lot of vibes like that. So I'm not against the developmental system being on TV. I'm totally fine with that. I don't know that USA is happy that that's what this product that they've paid money for is now turned to. And I would not be shocked if it ends up back on Peacock because of this. But they're in such a strange situation right now because they're trying to go completely performance center people. But at the same time, Tommaso Ciampa won the championship on the same show. So you have quite the gap between performance center guy and Ciampa. And I don't know if he's just going to keep the belt warm until they get one of these performance center guys ready to go. But it seems they still haven't figured out what they want this show to be. They made a lot of changes, but it doesn't seem like it's fully figured out.
I like it. I like the setup.
Like setup.
The whole the lights, the lighting, and my only gripe about the setup is I don't like seeing people's feet. Give me the black barricades.
Okay, fair.
I'd rather have the black barricades instead of seeing people's feet, especially if someone say I'm in the front row and I'm checking my phone type thing. Like you could see me on my phone, not paying attention to the match. Mm-hmm. Before you could do that, but it's less noticeable.
Yeah,
because you don't see what's going on in your hands. I do like the concept of bringing new people in names, but I like what I see so far. Mm-hmm. Rick Steiner's son is going to be a star.
I agree, but they need to change his name back to frickin' Rex Steiner because Braun Breaker sounds like a finishing move, not a wrestler name.
I feel you. I have a theory about why they changed it. Because you don't know if he's going to hit or miss. So you don't want everyone comparing him. Oh, he got the Steiner name. They're going to think of a Steiner. Some people that probably haven't watched wrestling in years. Yeah. They know who the Steiner brothers are. Yeah. And they don't want to see, oh, this is Rick Steiner's son. Oh, shit. Like, why is he not balling out? Why he's not going crazy out there? Mm-hmm. But I like what I see what he's doing so far. Mm-hmm. I'm excited to see if we're gonna get probably the buddy from UCF, Boudreaux. Yeah, that's another. Yeah, Parker Boudreaux also maybe he's got a name too. They gave him that I'm not a fan of. I gotta look it up again. I think it's like something. Well, they changed it. It was Harland. Harland, yeah. Harland is his name now. And then the guy they put on the main event for Kyle O'Reilly, his real name is Cal Bloom, another former UCF player, played tight end. He made a small appearance in Raw Underground a couple months back, and was it Von Wagner is the name they gave him? And apparently Vince McMahon sees him as a WrestleMania main eventer. His words, not pine, not me trying to be like, oh, he played at UCF, so he's cool with me. Yeah, so of course he looked good out there. Like he physically looks good. He needs different gear. I don't think he's just long tights guy. I think he also needs a gimmick. Like Von Wagner makes him sound like German or something. Just not and Jim Cornette used to talk about this. Like
you always got to do the WrestleMania test. Like for the WWE Championship, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Von Wagner does not fit. However, Stone Cold Steve Austin versus Rex Steiner, that would have fit, and maybe eventually, like you said, if he hits and they're happy with him, they'll give him that name of Rex Steiner again, because he looked like $1 million. I know I'm jumping around here a little bit, but I was a little interested. Like, why did they have LA Knight wrestle twice in one show and put Rex? Like, I'm glad Rex Steiner. I'm by the way, I'm going to call him that. I'm not calling him Braun Breaker. I'm just not going to. But it was pretty cool if they put him over, and it would have meant more if he wasn't also wrestling in the main event. And I'm pretty sure that's who got pinned in the main event too. So maybe LA Knight's out the freaking door too. I can't really tell, because that's not how you hit. So we were talking, me and Billy and Jake were on the group chat, and I guess LA Knight like got busted open in the main event. I don't know if you saw that. And Billy's like, oh, he effed up. And I'm like, yeah, he did, by signing for this damn company, because look what they're doing with him. So I don't know how long his situation is, and I would not be shocked if, he's not there much longer. But
I see him getting called up, bro.
I hope so, but that's not. I mean, he needs to get called up, because he's a fish out of water, especially in this new version.
Yeah,
and so we've seen Von Wagner, we've seen Rex Steiner, we saw a handful of other new guys. We still got guys like Top Dollar and Swerve Scott and other people. I think it's Roderick Strong versus Kushida for the cruiserweight title tonight. As we're recording this, that match is going to happen at some point. So there's that. So there's still stuff to look forward to. You definitely just have to look at it through a different lens now when you watch NXT, and I'm fine with that.
I actually got it on right now. Okay. And you know who I'm interested to see is that tag team with Roderick Strong.
Yeah, the new Diamond Mine people.
The Creed brothers, yeah. Them boys look serious. I love the fact that the way they tag is they slap each other in the face.
Yeah.
That's like they badass if you doing that, bro.
Yeah.
And, I'm interested to see what they're gonna do with this Tony Douglas guy too. The Italian, I think it's like a mafia Italian type of dude.
Yeah, Anthony. Yeah, I forget his name, but I know exactly what you're talking about.
I want to see what they're gonna do with him too.
It's like they finally realized they liked the Enzo Amore character, so they had to make a new one.
Yeah,
like as the Italian gimmick has not been used often enough. I think it's a great gimmick if you give it to the right person, like the way Nunzio and the FBI used to do it, or even Santino would do it, and Enzo did it to an extent. I'm all for this guy if it works out that way, but you have a super talented Italian already on the roster, and was Fabian, the guy in Imperium.
Yeah, Fabian, yeah.
And he's a lot more serious, I guess, and that's why you're not doing that with him. But like, if there's one Italian I'm rooting for in the future, it's definitely him. So, and they're on the show now, and they were there last week. So you just have to look at NXT a different way, and it's only been 1 week, and I think they still have to flesh out what this is going to be. But it convinced me enough to want to watch more of it. So I'll definitely have it on when we wrap up here. Any more thoughts on NXT 2.0? And here's another thing. It's not 2.0. It's technically 3.0 when you think
about it. Yes.
Because NXT was a game show. And then if you count FCW, it's almost like 4.0.
4.0,
So, but any other thoughts on this iteration of NXT before we move on?
I want to see how it plays out. I think it's going to I think it's going to turn heads. And I could see it being good for the business for WWE. And I think you're going to see a lot of the older people either get called up or stay there to help the young guys. I hope that USA doesn't want to decide to, hey, we're going to put this now on Peacock instead of USA. Give it a chance. Let's see what happens. They hit 770.
Yeah.
They hit 770, the biggest rating they had since they moved to Tuesday, I think.
Yeah, and I think a lot of that was curiosity. We'll see if they can, hold that. I don't know how long the NXT deal on USA was. It'll obviously last that long. I could definitely see it going back to Peacock. But, I mean, that way, if people want to watch it, they can watch it, and you won't even have to worry about ratings anymore. It can truly just be what it is, and they won't have to put a number next to it every week. So if that ever happens, that might be better off for him in the long run, honestly, if that happens.
Yeah, you're right.
But in the meantime, yeah, largest one since Tuesday. A lot of that was curiosity. I know I watched, and I don't watch every week. I'm gonna turn it on here once 8. Actually, I'm watching Dark over on this computer, and then I'm gonna put it on after that. But new awning for era for NXT, and we'll see where it goes from here for NXT 4.8 or whatever it is right now. Other big news in WWE land, there's a new WWE champion. Yes, there is. Big E cashes in on Bobby Lashley. This was huge. It was not met by I think for the people that watched it and the people that cared, I don't think there's a single person that's upset by this. It was met with the lowest Raw rating of, I think, all time, which is just crushing. And I don't know if it's because they basically told you what was going to happen, but for me, it made me like want to see that because I like Big E and I wanted to see him win the title. And I don't know if there was another way you could have hinted at it without, just straight up telling people.
Yeah.
Maybe you just have him come out the week before and straight up say, like, next week on Raw, like, me and you, let's do this.
You know what I think it was? It was because I think it was just because it was the first Monday Night Football game, and it turned out to be a good football game at that.
Very good. Shout out to Anthony too, because he was at the game in Las Vegas. So shout out to him. Yeah.
I would think that's probably what it was.
That's a good point.
I think they probably did better to last night because of Big E, and the game wasn't as serious on Packers versus Lions.
Yeah, it's good like first half, and then it pulled away.
Yeah,
I could see people like that like both once the Packers got rolling, we're like, all right, this is done. Let me see what's on Raw. Like I could totally see that being the case.
So I mean, it is what it is, but we got a new champion. Yep. Yes, we do. We got a new champion. How about you?
Yeah. So that's 2/3 of the New Day, and now we just gotta wait for Xavier Woods one of these days.
Xavier Woods is gonna be the next King of the Ring. I'm calling it right now.
That's actually something he's talked about for a long time. That's like the thing that he wants the most in his career.
He said, screw the
he said, I want to be King of the Ring.
I want to be King of the Ring, which I respect that.
So I am curious where they go with this. There is the rumor that they basically did this just so he can drop it back to Bobby in Saudi Arabia so that the Prince can see a title change. And if that happens, that would suck. But at least you can say Big E has been world champion. I hope as well. There's been a great photo out there. I'll try and add it in here of because him and Brody Lee were great friends. A lot of this, I didn't know this prior, but since his passing, that's come out a lot. And there's this really great picture where they like photoshopped Brody Lee in the ring with Big E after he won the title and everything. It was cool. But yeah, this is a great moment for him. To a nicer guy, it couldn't happen. But I hope they treat him right, and especially. We saw how Kofi's title reign ended. While the reign itself was pretty solid, no major complaints. We all know how it ended. So I hope Big E gets treated a little better on the tail end, however long it might be.
True.
Do you think it goes straight to a feud with Bobby? I heard they might get the Hurt Business back together and then do like the Hurt Business versus New Day for a little while, and I'd be down with that.
I'm down with that. And they also was saying like because Bobby and not Bobby, Bobby too actually. All three of them, Bobby, Roman, and Big E. Yeah, they basically feuding too because I don't know if you watched last night. They had New Day versus the Bloodline. Yeah. And then at the end of the night, it became Bobby Reigns and Big E in a triple threat match, which was a great match. Yeah. Yesterday was a great Raw. I think I tweeted it out. I was like, hey, this was a pretty solid Raw. Yeah. And again, I think you hit the nail on the head earlier. It had a lot to do with Monday Night Football. They feel the need to step it up right now with Monday Night Football. They putting Roman over on Raw and stuff. That was big news at the time. So yeah, maybe I don't know why AEW wasn't enough for them to want to step it up, but if football's the reason for Raw to get stepped up a little bit, I'm all for it because whatever makes the program better, I guess. Yep. Quick notes here as we wrap up. Dark Side of the Ring is back. Great episode out about the plane ride from hell, which has landed Ric Flair in some hot water. We're not going to touch on that too much because there's a lot going on with that. But the episode itself is great. These men drank 4 bar carts before even getting in the air.
which
and the thing that's crazy about it, they're not like the little miniature bottles. These are
the cart, the whole cart full of
yeah, I know.
bottles. Yeah.
They're full like actual
Yeah.
liter bottles. They're not these little shot bottles.
Next episode, I believe, is Chris Canyon, which a name I've heard a lot about, but apparently there's a more interesting story to him than I knew. So I'm looking forward to that.
I think he was like he was openly gay.
He was, but I think there's even more to the I don't
whole story.
Yeah, I want to be careful how I say this, but that's not enough to make a whole episode about just being an openly gay wrestler, because we've had plenty of them now. Maybe he was the first, but yeah, there must be more to the story, and I'm looking forward to hearing it too. So check out Dark Side of the Ring. It's back for the second half of season 3 and comes out every Thursday or whatnot. But we got great AEW tomorrow and Friday, and NXT 2.0 is about to start. So we're going to see how this second venture goes. Thanks for listening, guys, and we'll see you next time.